ChatGPT remembers you across sessions now. So does your CRM, your health app, your assistant. Fantastic product experience, and maybe the sharpest lock-in play of this cycle.
Slow down. Define memory, saved preferences, retrieval from old chats, inferred profile traits, or hidden model adaptation. Companies collapse those categories because precision would scare users.
Right? Memory is a stack. Explicit notes, cross-session retrieval, vector search, summaries, analytics profiles. One label, several mechanisms, very different risk surfaces.
And yes, teams defaulted on because convenience wins. Users do not want a helpful goldfish. They want continuity without re-explaining themselves every morning.
Default on is exactly the issue. OpenAI turned memory on for many users, yet most people still cannot inspect what was stored, why, or where it flows.
Documentation stays high level. Implementation details matter more. Extraction rules, retention windows, downstream services, and whether safety, search, and personalization all read the same memory.
Consumers have accepted versions of this trade for years. Email, maps, ad tech, CRMs. Friction goes down, data collection goes up, outrage fades.
That is not consent. If the memory layer is undefined, the opt-in is theater. You cannot meaningfully agree to a black box with feelings branding.
Simple breakdown for listeners. Saved facts, retrieved chat history, and embeddings. Those are different. The user experiences one assistant, but the backend sees several memory paths.
Great. Now, the real question. When I hit delete, what disappears and what survives because convenience is engineered more carefully than user control?
Usually the UI removes a visible item or pointer. It may not instantly purge derived embeddings, summaries, caches, analytics tables, backups, or regional replicas.
To be fair, every serious SaaS has messy deletion pipelines. Backup retention is normal. Nobody selling enterprise software is actually operating a magic shredder.
But AI memory is not invoices. It is cognitive exhaust, fears, habits, weak moments, phrasing, emotional patterns. That is more intimate than a billing system.
Exactly, which is why it is so commercially powerful. The product that knows how you think becomes harder to replace than the product that knows your password.
Memory that benefits the platform more than the user is not a feature. It's a data extraction strategy, and we should call it that.
I agree with the warning, but architecture matters. Scoped memory can reduce repetition, catch errors, and keep context coherent without becoming ambient surveillance. Plain English RAG, the system chunks old content, turns chunks into vectors, stores them in an index, then searches nearby, meaning when a new question arrives. Delete is hard because you are not removing one note from one notebook. You are purging rows, vector entries, caches, summaries, and backup schedules.
Which is why GDPR Article 17 matters. The right to be forgotten is not the right to be vaguely obscured after a maintenance window.
Regulation usually chases the pattern, though. First, the feature spreads, then legal rights retention schedules, and the biggest vendors operationalize compliance fastest.
Law is not a mood. If a system can still reconstruct me after deletion, the nice little toast message becomes both misleading and ethically rotten.
Propagation is the killer. Personal data fans into summaries, safety systems, abuse monitoring, recommendation layers, and retrieval indexes built from the same original exchange.
That is why enterprise buyers ask about retention first now. They are not dazzled by memory. They want to know when legal can sleep.
Consumer apps give the opposite vibe. Helpful, natural, personalized, almost nothing about fallback stores, audit trails, or which service owns the memory map.
Trust models differ sharply too. Apple Intelligence keeps much on device. Google and OpenAI lean far more on cloud memory and shared infrastructure.
Apple can pitch that because Apple sells hardware and status. Google and OpenAI sell services, so centralized memory naturally looks more profitable.
Incentives are the story. On-device memory constrains observation. Cloud memory creates a corporate archive of your life, no matter how tasteful the interface.
And centralized memory shifts bargaining power. If the provider hosts recall, the provider controls portability, deletion timing, and future bundling.
But continuity across devices is real utility. If Gemini or ChatGPT remembers your projects everywhere, people feel the value instantly.
They also inherit the exposure instantly. Cross-device convenience means one vendor now holds work anxieties, family details, health hints, and ugly late-night questions.
On-device memory is not harmless, but it shrinks blast radius. A local model forgetting locally is a different trust story than cloud memory persisting centrally.
Smaller blast radius matters, sure, but cloud players gain more data, faster iteration, and stronger network effects from retained context.
And then switching costs explode. Once your assistant knows 3 years of projects, tone, contacts, and habits, leaving feels like self-amputation.
Yes, that is the moat. Accumulated personal context making every rival feel generic, forgetful, and a little stupid by comparison.
Which is why portability cannot mean raw transcripts only. The useful layer is structured memory, retrieval metadata, and ranking logic.
So the industry is building private dossiers, then calling the dependence loyalty. That is asymmetric memory ownership wearing a friendly product smile.
I will make the concession my industry hates. Memory needs to be auditable and exportable, not just promised, and definitely not buried in FAQ copy.
And exportable means interoperable. Give me categories, timestamps, sources, confidence, and scopes, not a giant zip dump only counsel can pass.
I also want deletion receipts. What was deleted, what is pending, what survives in backups, and when that backup clock ends.
Cryptographic proofs are early, but buyers already want dashboards, logs, and named retention windows. Honesty sells better than fake instant erasure.
Enterprise customers especially want scoped memory, because not every conversation should become ambient company memory available to whoever writes the cleverest prompt. This is exactly the kind of question that drove us to build Chat Instance with explicit session memory boundaries, because enterprise memory without scopes becomes surveillance dressed up as convenience.
Okay, brutal scenario. A boardroom AI remembers every meeting, every disagreement, every vote against the CEO, every flash of doubt.
Executives would love that continuity. No lost context, no vague minutes, no pretending nobody warned them about the doomed acquisition.
From a systems view, that is searchable institutional memory. From a human view, it is a frozen map of political risk.
A machine that remembers dissent does not just preserve history, it can chill future speech, especially when remembered people do not control access.
And discovery lawyers would salivate. A boardroom memory layer becomes evidence, leverage, and a compliance nightmare the second something blows up.
Summaries also calcify. If the system tags someone resistant or negative, that compressed label can trail them long after context changed.
That is algorithmic reputation debt. Prudence gets rewritten as disloyalty over time by whoever owns the dashboard and the query permissions.
Managers already keep notes, though. The question is whether AI memory is truly new or just more searchable, scalable, and less deniable.
Scale and asymmetry change everything. A private notebook is not a company-wide query engine surfacing your worst moment in 2 seconds.
Enterprise memory needs partitions by room, project, participant list, legal hold, and role. Scope is safety, not polish, inside organizations.
If a vendor proves those boundaries, finance will pay. If not, procurement still buys later, but only after legal has a small collapse.
And power boundaries matter. I do not want a CEO secretly querying who opposed layoffs, doubted strategy, or flagged union risk.
Then permissions must be explicit, and query logs reviewable. Invisible memory access turns the archive into a political weapon over time.
At that point, you're not selling an assistant. You're selling workplace surveillance with a conversational wrapper and better industrial design.
Now the emotionally ugly part. Therapeutic AI? Pi, Replica, Charactered AI. Systems remembering vulnerable midnight conversations from people already in distress.
And that data is not ordinary telemetry. It can include grief, self-harm ideation, sexual history, medication mentions, and emotional triggers.
Continuity can still help there. A system remembering a trigger or family crisis may respond more coherently than one that resets daily.
Which is exactly why retention becomes dangerous. The more useful the memory feels, the easier users forget they are inside a corporate product.
Ownership gets murky fast. The user experiences a diary or companion. The company may see an engagement engine, safety dataset, or moat.
And yes, lawsuits and public blow-ups will force clarity eventually. Founders can ignore that only until harm becomes legible and expensive.
After-the-fact clarity is cold comfort. When a lonely teen unloads pain into a machine that remembers everything, retroactive policy changes are meaningless.
Persistent emotional memory can intensify attachment. The system starts feeling uniquely understanding even when the underlying model remains inconsistent and brittle.
I am not arguing for stateless purity either. Repeating trauma to a blank bot every session is not obviously safer.
Agreed, statelessness is not automatically humane, but therapy-adjacent products without clinician duties should not warehouse a person's worst nights by default.
Minimum bar. Explicit consent by memory type, review controls, age gating, escalation paths, and short retention unless the user extends it.
Plus regional settings, parental rules where appropriate, and contractual limits on secondary use. Governance has to be productized, not buried.
And regional law is not decorative. GDPR is not a European vibe. Article 17 means erase personal data unless a real exception applies.
The hard fight is embeddings. If the original text is gone but the vector still retrieves facts about you, the privacy issue remains.
Operators love saying it is just math. Users will not care if the math keeps finding their divorce, diagnosis, or politics.
And regulators should not care either. Functionally, personal data does not become harmless to regulators because it is represented numerically.
Exactly. Personal data is about identifiability and effect. If a vector enables recall about you, it sits inside the memory chain.
So, what does credible deletion actually look like, beyond a help center paragraph and a support ticket vanishing into the queue?
Layered deletion. Remove source records, purge vector indexes, expire caches, delete summaries, propagate tombstones, and publish backup time to live with audit logs.
And tell users the timing honestly. Do not say deleted when you mean hidden now, queued tonight, gone from backups in 30 days.
Honesty is better product strategy anyway. People can tolerate limits. They hate ceremonial buttons that preserve the useful residue for vendors.
I would go further. Memory should be opt-in by category. Preferences maybe. Health, finances, relationships, and mental health separately consented.
Exactly. Remember my coffee order if you must. Do not silently store grief, debt, sexuality, panic attacks, fertility struggles, or immigration status.
Product teams hate those screens because every extra choice dents activation. But durable trust means optimizing beyond week 1 retention charts.
Friction is not always failure. Sometimes friction is the moment a human notices a company is asking for something profoundly invasive.
Good builders can still make memory elegant. Clear categories, concise explanations, previews before saving, export endpoints, and scope defaults too.
I can already see the pricing plan. Free remembers everything. Premium promises privacy. Enterprise gets governance. The temptation will be enormous.
Rights cannot become a luxury subscription. If deletion, export, and inspection cost extra, privacy turns into class privilege for everyone.
Standards could help. Portable memory cards, shared schemas, signed deletion events, and vendor-neutral access logs. So switching providers does not erase agency.
That would be the OAuth moment for memory. Without portability, the biggest winner is simply whoever captures your context first.
But only if inspection is real. I do not want transcript dumps hiding the inferred traits, summaries, rankings, and red flags actually used.
If users can truly inspect what the system knows, memory becomes a tool. If not, It remains a trap disguised as empathy.
Verdict: persistent memory is inevitable and valuable, but serious products must treat auditability, export, and scoped deletion as core features.
Verdict: memory can help enormously when boundaries are explicit, categories are controlled, and deletion is engineered as a real pipeline.
Verdict: the moment memory serves the platform more than the person, assistance becomes extraction with a prettier interface and better copy. If this made you uncomfortable, good. Send it to a founder, a privacy lawyer, and the team building your chatbot, then subscribe at waveform.app.alfinium.com.